Greetings, everyone. I'm Jeff Rhodes, the better half of Crossroads Consulting, where we help companies outsource, grow, reduce cost, and protect their business assets. Continuing along with our HR Tales from the Crypt programming, our interview with Matt Opprecht takes us to case number 2, and this one's titled Case of Off the Rack, and I think the name will resonate as we get into the interview. This is a story, again, an actual case. This involves a female employee in a financial services company, right? Really professional. They've got to make a good impression on people, etc. So this particular female employee has an issue with dress code. I don't want to go into any of the details because I don't want to steal any thunder, but you're going to like this one. And it really does have some elements, some very common elements in the workplace with regards to dress code and how Matt Opprecht handled this particular case. I don't think I want to go into any more description. I think we're good. I want you to enjoy this interview. You'll probably want to take some notes. So stay tuned for another episode of Case of the Off the Rack. The next episode is called Case of the Off the Rack.
All right.
Yeah, I got to hear about this one.
This is a good one. This is actually a client tale. And this was I'd say probably 5-10 years ago. I can't remember the exact date. But so again, being in PEO, you're dealing with different industries, different clients, different employees. So, and again, at this time, as opposed to the last story we told, there were a lot more tools available and then, a lot more access, especially for me to kind of, smooth things over. In this case, this was an owner, had a company. It was a financial company, had about 30 employees, actually 35 to 40. And again, owner of the company had a female employee that he felt dressed too provocatively. I mean, and I won't tell you the names that he would call her when we would engage, but they were not very, nice.
Yeah.
Why does she have to dress like a? I was
like she's going to the club on Friday night, right?
Right, exactly.
Like she's walking down Bourbon Street, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, probably pretty close. And then outside of the way she dressed, her job was she was professional. She did a good job. If you talk to the coworkers, you talk to the other managers, yeah, she's great. It's just for whatever reason, this owner hated the way they dressed. Here's the problem. Again, this owner started up the business. And like most small companies, when they start up, the last thing they think about are policies, procedures, having a handbook, having these things in place. So, it's all kind of, we just say what we don't like, and that suddenly becomes a policy, or we do what we like, and that suddenly becomes policy.
Right.
So this particular individual, he called me up. And he said, look, I can't take this anymore. Okay. And I'm like, well, are you looking at termination? Because I'm going to be honest with you, unless there's a reason for you to fire her. I mean, from what I gather, she does a good job. So what are you trying to do? And he said, well, here's my idea. I know a lady who owns a clothing store down at the mall, and I'm going to go down to the mall and I'm going to hand pick out all the outfits. And then I'm going to tell this employee to go down to the mall to that store, and she's only allowed to buy clothes from that rack that I pick out.
Now, did the company offer to pay for that wardrobe?
Yes, they're going to pay for the wardrobe. And I said, that's a horrible idea. That's for one. Would you do this with the male employees? Is this something you offer to everyone? If somebody comes in wearing shoes you don't like, are you going to send them down to this lady's store and they're going to have to pick out the shoes that you decide that they're going to wear? I said, you're really, really overstepping the bounds. And he said, well, what do we do about it? I can't. I said, well, first of all, I know you don't have a handbook. And he said, well, yeah, I know. I've been wanting to get around to that. I'm like, well, that's part of the reason why you hired us, is to do these things. When we did your your initial audit, we recommended very strongly that we put together a handbook for you. And I said, I've tried for several months to get your handbook done, but there's never cohesion, or, there's never time to talk about what you want to do, how you want to do it. I said, this is probably a perfect place to start for us to put together your handbook and your policies and procedures. You don't have to go and pick out somebody's wardrobe for them. You don't have to buy people's clothes.
Right.
But you do have to have a policy that states what is acceptable and what is not. I said we could start with that and then build out from there. But I would not, under any circumstances, recommend that you direct this employee to go down and buy the clothes. And if you buy them, what happens when they leave? Are they going to just give them back to you? Do they have to sell them back to you? Did they have to buy them themselves back from the company? Or do you even want the clothes back after a couple of years? I mean,
Yeah. So
what's the end game?
Let's back up here a little bit. What role was this person in that was dressed in provocative? Did they deal with clients, or were they internal?
No, they're actually internal. As I recall, it was an underwriting position. You never really had any client facing at all.
Right.
It's just, for whatever reason, the owner just zeroed in on that one problem. And I find this very common among small owners. Go ahead, Bill. Go ahead.
So I mean, was she like having body parts hanging out, things too short, or was it just?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't like.
Do you have any pictures, Matt?
Yeah. Well, yeah, at the time, the style for women's fashions, were like the high platform shoes. He hated those. Even though, I mean, you could go on the news network and you would see the news anchors wearing these clothes. He didn't like the length of her skirts when she would wear them. Some stuff he thought was a little too see-through. I mean, and I get it. I completely understand in a professional environment. But, you change your policies and you make sure that they're equal to everybody. You don't just go out and tell somebody and order them to go buy the clothes you pick out for them.
Well,
I mean, you're not bad.
Exactly right. I can see other employees saying, hey, if she got a new wardrobe, then I want a new wardrobe. And the managers also say, hey, look, if you're going to.
Right.
That, and then, the massive discrimination case you would have against the employer for that. I'm like, again, outside of all of this, you've got over 30 employees, okay? You're ripe for EEOC. You're ripe for ADA. You're ripe for, anything that this person wants to throw at you.
Yeah.
They can't. I mean, if you're not going to do this for everybody in the company, you're just doing it for this one female. Yeah, that's huge.
Well,
you don't want that on your back.
I mean, I worked for one Fortune 500 company. I won't say their name, but one of our sales divisions, major accounts, the ladies in there, I mean, every day was like, it was club night, and, mini skirts, short dresses, leopard pattern, high leather boots. I mean, trust me. I mean, it was professional, but it was pushing the line a little bit,
Yeah, absolutely. And well, you know what? Which is fine. If your policy says, hey, high boots and leopard skirts and platform shoes is forever, then go ahead, go for it. But, if you don't have any policy, and again, this is why I find, the value in the side where you do the consulting and the HR and the guidance and the advice, because you have to change the thinking. People don't know what they don't know. Ownership they know that, hey, look, I make widgets, or I service financing, or I provide loans, whatever it might be. This is what I do. Everything else is secondary.
Well, listen, most of the owners out there don't put any value on HR. Whether it's the tactical HR or strategic, they don't put any value on it. We've spent a career trying to build that value of saying, look, if you just spend 30 minutes with your HR professional that we assign to you and put together these policies and procedures, it's going to save you thousands of dollars down the road and possible your business, things like that. So,
well, lawyers are going to tell you it all starts with the employee handbook. And this is a good case for the employee handbook, which includes a dress code.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Your first line of defense is going to be your employee handbook, and it's got to be updated. It's got to be professionally done.
Yeah.
You got to need experts like yourself to help draft and put together the employee handbook. You just can't pull one off the internet and say, okay, here's my employee handbook. Go ahead and sign this. Well, what does it say? Well, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's in the handbook. I got it off the internet.
Right,
Just
exactly.
sign it. Don't worry about it.
No, I have a client not too long ago sent me a copy of their handbook. Well, let me take a look and see what you got. I'm glad you have it. Let me see it. And I opened it, and it was basically just like, I don't even know what kind of, I'd say it's like a procedures manual. It had everything in there about coming on, turning on the lights, who's going to do the cleaning duties, da 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 da. And there's nothing at all in there that had anything related to sexual harassment. What happens if you've got, violence in the workplace? What happens? I mean, like nothing.
Right.
I said, this is great. This is a procedures manual. Now
Oh
we
my
got to
God.
work on actually getting you an employee handbook that's going to, stand up in court.
Yeah.
Great story. Great story. Once again, we are Crossroads Consulting. I'm Jeff. He's Billy. We're available to talk to you about any issues that come up with regards to your business. Our business model is to help you find solutions. There's no cost, there's no obligation to talk to us. You've seen some of the interviews that we've done. We have a lot of resources that we can bring to the table. We welcome you the opportunity to talk to you about your business and some of the challenges that you're facing now. We'll do our best to find the solutions. Again, there's no cost, no obligation.